It was late morning in the village. The sun hung high, burning the earth and making the dust shimmer in the air. Chickens scratched near the alley, and a donkey cart rattled down the narrow path. Among all this, a little girl named Mariam walked home from school carrying a tin lunchbox her mother had packed that morning. Inside the box was something small but precious: a piece of flatbread, a boiled egg, and 3 dates. To most people it was a poor meal, but to Mariam it was treasure. She was hungry, her stomach growling after a long morning of reading and writing. She looked forward to sitting under the shade of the old tree near her house, opening the box and tasting that first bite. But as she turned a corner, she heard a faint voice. "Please, for the sake of Allah, something to eat." Mariam stopped. On the side of the road, half hidden in the shade of a mud wall, sat an old man. His beard was long and uncombed. His clothes were torn and dusty. His hands trembled as he raised them in plea. His face was pale, as if life itself was slipping away. Mariam felt her heart pound. She had seen poor people before, but this man looked weaker than any she had ever seen. "My daughter," he whispered, his voice cracking. "I have not eaten for 2 days. Do you have anything at all?" Mariam looked down at her lunchbox. She thought of her hunger. She thought of how her mother had carefully boiled the egg, wrapped the bread, and tucked in the dates. She thought of how they had so little food at home. Then another image came to her mind: her father. That very morning, she had woken to see her father sitting by the door, his face in his hands. He was a carpenter, once respected in the village, but times had grown hard. Few people built new houses anymore. Work had slowed, and debts had grown. Every week, men came to the door, demanding payment for flour, for wood, for tools. Mariam's father always lowered his head in shame. She remembered his trembling voice that morning. "Ya Allah, I have nothing left. I cannot pay them. What will I do?" Mariam had felt powerless then. She was only a girl. What could she do? And now, here was this beggar, looking at her with eyes full of need. Her stomach rumbled again, but her heart spoke louder. She slowly opened the tin lunchbox. The smell of warm bread filled the air. She hesitated for a moment, then pushed the box into the old man's hands. "Here, uncle," she said softly. "It's all I have. Please make dua for us." The man's eyes filled with tears. His hands shook as he took the box. He placed his trembling palm gently on her head. "Allah will never let you down, child," he whispered. "He will repay you more than you can imagine." Mariam nodded, tears stinging her eyes, and walked away with her bag empty. Her stomach ached, but her heart felt strangely light. That evening, her father returned home with the same shadow in his eyes. He sat quietly on the floor while her mother placed a small plate of rice before him. He ate little, lost in thought, and then spoke softly. "I cannot escape this debt. Every day they come. Tomorrow perhaps they will take away my tools. Without them, I am nothing." Mariam wanted to tell him about the beggar, about the lunch she had given away, but she stayed silent. Something inside her told her to wait. That night, the family slept hungry. The air in their one-room home was heavy with worry. The next morning, as the sun began to rise, there was a loud knock on the door. Mariam's father, Yasin, opened it with a frown. On the doorstep stood a tall man in fine clothes with a friendly smile. "Are you Yasin the carpenter?" he asked. "Yes," Yasin replied cautiously. "I am the overseer of a large housing project in the town nearby," the man said. "We need doors, windows, and wooden frames for 20 houses. I have heard you are skilled and honest. Would you take the job?" Yasin's heart almost stopped. 20 houses? Such work could feed his family for months. But he sighed, shaking his head. "I would gladly take it, sir, but I have no money for wood or supplies. I cannot begin." The man smiled. "That is no problem. Here is half the payment in advance." From his bag, he placed a heavy pouch of coins into Yasin's hands. Yasin's eyes filled with tears. He had not seen so much money in years. His hands trembled. "But why me? There are many carpenters." The man looked at him calmly. "Because I asked in the market who was the most trustworthy. Everyone said your name, and because last night I had a dream. In it, I saw a man who told me, 'Give your work to Yasin. His honesty will bring you blessing.' So here I am." Yasin fell to his knees. "Alhamdulillah, Alhamdulillah." That very day, Yasin went to the market. He paid every man he owed. He bought flour, oil, and fruit for his family. He came home with tears streaming down his face, holding bags of food. His wife cried with joy. His children jumped with laughter. Mariam sat silently, her heart pounding with a secret only she knew. The days turned into weeks. Yasin worked harder than ever, cutting wood, shaping doors, carving windows. The project paid him generously, and for the first time in years, their home was free of debt. There was food on the table every night. The shadow of fear was gone. But in her heart, Mariam could not forget the old beggar. She remembered his trembling voice, his weak hands, his words. "Allah will never let you down, child." Was it his prayer that brought the workshop owner to their door? Was he even a beggar at all? Or had Allah sent him as a test? She never saw him again. No one in the village knew of such a man. Some whispered that perhaps he was not a man, but an angel in disguise. One night, months later, Yasin sat with Mariam by the fire. "Do you know, my daughter," he said, "sometimes I think Allah tested us with poverty just to show us that He is the provider. When I had nothing, I thought it was the end. But Allah sent a door of mercy I could not see." Mariam lowered her eyes, smiling softly. She thought of her small lunchbox, her empty stomach that day, and how Allah had replaced it with more than she could ever count. She finally whispered, "Baba, do you think Allah listens even to small things, like a child's small act?" Her father kissed her forehead. "My child, never think any act is too small for Allah. Even half a date given in charity, if sincere, can save you on the day of judgment. Allah sees what no one else sees." Tears filled Mariam's eyes. She pressed her face into his chest, holding her secret close to her heart. From that day on, Mariam made it her habit to give, even if it was a date, a piece of bread, or a cup of water. She knew that what leaves your hand for Allah never disappears. It returns in ways you cannot imagine. And for the rest of her life, she carried with her the memory of that beggar under the tree, the taste of hunger in her stomach, and the sweetness of Allah's mercy that followed.